Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure Weekly Update video. In this video, we will be going to talk about all of these updates which has been released by Microsoft for Azure Cloud Services. So all of these updates are currently in general availabilities, and we can go ahead and use these updates or enhancement with our infrastructures. Right, so let's quickly jump into these updates and understand what are the enhancements we are getting into the Azure cloud. Now the first update which we have is for Azure Site Recovery update rollup 66 for February 2023 months. With this updates we are getting more support to the VMs, more support to the Linux operating system for mobility services. We have for Azure to Azure we are getting support for Ubuntu uh, 22.04 for red, and then we have our HEL, which is Red Hat 8.7, and then we have a support for CentOS 8.7. So these three new operating systems are now capable to support Azure to Azure site recovery features. Now the second update, I can say the second enhancement within this update is modernize VMware and physical to Azure. For this, the same operating systems, which is Ubuntu uh, 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 22.04, Red Hat 8.7, CentOS 8.7s are now have a capabilities. Same goes with the classic VMware or the physical to Azure. We have a capability of Red Hat 8.7 and CentOS OS 8.7 capabilities now there. So with these one, now we have a capability to protect these VMs for the DR. We can use uh, Azure Site Recovery Mobility Agent to replicate these operating systems VMs to the Azure. The next update which we have is for recovery service vault now have the enhanced experience for creating and managing the private endpoints. So as we know, Azure Backup allow us to use the private endpoint to perform and restore securely using the private IPs from the Azure virtual network. uh, Backup have now introduced several enhancements that will provide a simpler and improved experience for creation and use of the private endpoint for backing up data to recovery service vault. There is a following key improvement has been made. First, ability to create private endpoints without managed identities. Use fewer private IPs per vault. No separate private endpoint are now required to create for blob and queue services. So these are the enhancement which is there, and I would say it's enhancing the overall experience of how you want to use the private endpoint with recovery vault. The next update which we have is for Azure Data Explore dashboard. Now this is something which has been a new services for Azure Data Explore. Now we have a dashboard. What this dashboard do? This dashboard provide us the ability to create the various type of data visualizations in one place, and it's easy to digest form. Dashboard can be shared broadly, allow multiple stakeholders to view the dynamics real-time datas, fresh datas, while easily interacting with it to gain more desired insight. With this dashboard, you can build a dashboard, share it with others, and empower them to continue their data exploration journey. While working with the Azure Data Explorer dashboard, the following things which user can gain: optimized dashboard rendering performance built for large data set and the complex queries, easy creation of dashboards based on KQL queries written into the ADX Web UI, native query explorations in ADX Web UI for dashboard. So these are the things which user is going to gain in ADX dashboard. The next update which we have is for Azure IoT Edge support. Now have a capability to run on Ubuntu 22.04 version. right? So this is the enhancement. Like we can install AMD 64 or ARM64 packages from the latest IoT Edge release, which is now available into the Microsoft package repository as well. The next update which we have is for Azure Disk. Now we have a capability to create the disks from customer managed key encrypted snapshot across the subscription within the same tenant. Keep in mind it's across the subscription but within one tenant, right? So there were several enhancement has been made by Microsoft, and now they are making a customer managed key more flexible to use with the managed disk. As we know, Azure already supported or supporting copying snapshot and the disk across the subscription. Now Microsoft have extended this functionality to include the customer managed encryption snapshot and the disk, which means it will now possible to create a disk into the another subscription and in the same tenant while creating from the source snapshot or the disk encrypted with the customer managed key. This capability can be used to create the disk to a fresh development environment from the customer managed key encrypted snapshot of the production disk into the another subscription. You can also use this functionality to create the VMs from customer managed key encrypted golden images stored into the another subscription into the same tenant, right? So what that means is if there is any snapshot, any V disk or any golden images which you have with the customer managed key, now you have a capability to create uh, the disk from snapshot VMs, right, from the one subscription to the another subscription but into the same tenant. The next update which we have is for Stream Analytic No Code Editor update for February 2023. As we know, Azure Stream Analytic No Code Editor is basically a tool which released by Microsoft and which allow us to minimize or less code requirement to do the job or do the streaming analytic job, and it's enable us to develop a stream analytic job without writing a single line of code. We can quickly develop a job to handle a variety of scenarios in just few minutes. Within this month, there's a new capability has been released which include the Power BI output support and the data preview improvement. uh, the Power BI output feature is in a no-code editor, allow you to create the real-time dashboard in a Power BI without require a separate database for caching the data produced from the stream analytics job. This is or it simplifies the creation process and reduce the cost. And in snapshot, you can see now we have a new data process capability of the Power BI which we can use, and then we can stream our or we can do the stream analytic jobs to export the data directly into the Power BI as well, and the source can be from the event hub or from the other source also. The next update which we have is for app service environment v3. Now we have a journal the larger SKUs available. With this, enterprises are allowed to operate more securely with the large SKUs to support more demanding workloads with app service environment v3. New isolated v2 SKUs of 64 GB, 128 GB and 256 GB provide compiling value to organize the need a dedicated tenant to run the most sensitive and demanding application. These queues are currently available across the all regions into the Azure cloud. The next update which we have is for Azure Red Hat OpenShift. As we know, OpenShift is the environment where you can run your containerized or even where you can manage or run the managed containers in Azure, and it's give you the capability to run the Linux environment or the Unix environment or the open source. Now it's generally available into the Qatar central region. As we know, Azure Red Hat OpenShift provide the high availability, fully managed OpenShift cluster on demand and is monitored and operated jointly by Microsoft and Red Hat. Right? Well, that's all in this video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos. And feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.